The Iowa Women's Health Study, from the University of Iowa, followed more than 38,000 older women for nearly 2 decades to answer a simple question: do daily vitamins help you live longer? Common sense would say, of course they do. But the data pointed in a different direction. Participants who regularly took synthetic supplements, especially multivitamins, showed a higher risk of death. The conclusion came straight from the cold numbers on spreadsheets, yet its impact reached real lives, real routines, and choices made for years with the best intentions. You're watching Life Guidance After 60, a channel created especially to offer advice and life stories for those over 60. Self-awareness frees you and protects you from many unnecessary sufferings. That's exactly what this video offers you: valuable content to better understand your own body, take care of your health in later life, and live longer. Self-awareness backed by scientific research, along with regular visits to your doctor, is the recipe for balance, well-being, genuine quality of life, and longevity in your senior years. Think of Evelyn, 72. Every morning, coffee, water, and the colorful pill she swore protected her. The bottle came with strong words: energy, vitality, balance. She trusted it, repeating the gesture like a daily prayer. Meanwhile, quietly, the study was tracking thousands of Evelyns, people who cared for their bodies, loved their families, and wanted the clarity to watch their grandchildren grow up. And yet, in the charts, those who followed this capsule routine had a higher likelihood of dying sooner. Researchers expected to confirm the obvious. But when they analyzed the data, they saw the opposite. In tense meetings, they ran analyses, removed biases, checked variables, and reviewed samples. The result held firm. The comforting assumption gave way to an uncomfortable truth: not every vitamin in pill form delivers what it promises. The body doesn't respond the same way to synthetic versions as it does to natural ones. The chemistry might look similar, but the body notices the difference. Maybe you've heard someone like Linda say, "It's just a multivitamin, it helps with everything." Linda didn't make that idea up, she was taught to believe it. Commercials, store shelves, rushed advice, all reinforced it. This study, however, hit the brakes. It showed that capsules taken day after day, year after year, are linked to worse outcomes. Not extreme doses, nothing secret, just everyday products bought at the local pharmacy. The biggest shock came from the gap between expectation and reality. When we picture health, we often imagine shortcuts: a pill packed with alphabet letters, a label promising a little bit of everything. This study reminds us that health doesn't fit neatly inside a bottle. When nutrients come from food, they arrive with fiber, phytochemicals, enzymes, silent companions that help regulate absorption and effect. In synthetic versions, the orchestra loses instruments, the melody changes. Carol, 68, decided to rethink her routine after reading a summary of the study in a magazine. She put away the bottle that had been with her for 15 years and made room for simpler choices: fruits, vegetables, seeds, water, moderate sun exposure, and respected sleep. Strangely enough, doing this made her mind feel lighter. She noticed greater clarity in facing her own fears and less reliance on quick fixes. Her love for her own life turned into a daily practice, a kindness toward herself. On the scientist's side, there was humility. They expected to confirm a widely accepted idea and instead walked away with a better question: what truly makes a difference when aging with clarity and warmth? The study doesn't condemn those who try to take care of themselves. It simply opens the door to mature reflection: if a strategy isn't delivering what it promises, it's worth adjusting your path. And changing course takes courage, especially when it challenges habits built over years. You might recognize yourself in some of these gestures: sorting pills into a weekly organizer, noting times, repeating the routine like a protective ritual. That's the sensitive heart of this story. The intention is good, the desire to live longer is genuine. But the data delivered a warning. Sticking to autopilot can be costly when your body is quietly asking for something else: real food, simplicity, consistency, choices that honor life's natural rhythm. The power of this discovery lies in returning control to the listener. Instead of magic answers, it offers an invitation: pay attention to your own body, cut back on shortcuts, and nurture the basics that support a calm mind and steady heart. The Iowa study isn't about blame, it's about awareness. It shows that information can save time, money, and sometimes even years of life. Evelyn, Linda, Carol, different stories, the same lesson ready to cross the screen and reach you. The best promises for aging well rarely come in packaging. They grow from simple, caring actions repeated over time, the kind that keep your mind clear enough to love, decide, and move forward. This is where our journey begins. From this point on, we'll closely examine what's really behind those pills. No shortcuts, no illusions, just the truth that supports a genuinely long life. You might believe you're taking care of your health, but perhaps you're only repeating a habit your body silently rejects. True care begins when we seek to understand what genuinely does us good, and have the courage to rethink what always seemed right. After the study's results began spreading, many older adults started looking at their vitamin bottles with suspicion. That automatic trust in daily pills began to fade, replaced by a quiet doubt: is this really helping me? Among them was Harold, 74. For decades, he believed that swallowing a few pills was enough to keep his body strong and his mind sharp. That's what he learned from ads, TV doctors, and what simply felt safe. Until, during a routine checkup, his doctor told him about the Iowa study. She explained that an aging body works like a precise machine, sensitive to any excess. Synthetic vitamins, when taken without medical supervision, can disrupt the body instead of strengthening it. Harold listened in silence, surprised. For the first time, he understood that caring for your health isn't a one-time action, it's an ongoing commitment, a dialogue between your body and someone who truly understands health. That was the moment he realized something essential: seeing a doctor regularly isn't a sign of weakness, but of wisdom. Every appointment is a chance to prevent, adjust, understand what your body needs, and identify what should be avoided. An older adult who stays under consistent medical care can catch problems early and still have time to act. Harold had replaced medical follow-up with blind trust in vitamins. Now, he wanted to change course. He started noting down even minor symptoms, a different kind of tiredness, a slight dizziness, and brought those notes to his appointments. Small changes began to make sense. His doctor adjusted dosages, stopped unnecessary supplements, and ordered tests Harold had never done before. Over time, he noticed his mind clearing, his sleep improving, and his body responding differently. What had seemed like mere routine revealed itself as an act of self-love. Meanwhile, other seniors from the same research group shared similar stories. Many discovered that symptoms they'd blamed on aging, fatigue, swelling, irritability, actually came from long-term use of supplements their bodies no longer needed. The Iowa study, beyond revealing scientific data, ended up becoming a lesson in self-awareness and the importance of medical supervision. Science showed that balance is delicate. An older person's body carries unique chemical memories, habits, and vulnerabilities. That's why a dose that helps one person might be dangerous for another. Only a doctor, paying close attention to every detail, can spot these signs before they become serious problems. It's the professional's attentive eye that translates what the body tries to say in silence. Harold became an example among his friends. He encouraged everyone to do the same: keep up with exams, talk to their doctor before taking any supplement, review old prescriptions, and understand that aging demands presence, not haste. He realized that true care doesn't come in capsules, but in conscious choices. Over time, the man who once lived in constant fatigue began to regain the sparkle in his eyes. He saw that his vitality was tied to trusting medicine, listening to his own body, and respecting the limits that age brings. What seemed like the end of a belief turned into a fresh start. After all, life keeps surprising those who have the courage to care for themselves with clarity and humility. And it was this courage, simple, quiet, transformative, that the Iowa study reignited in thousands of people. The understanding that true health is built through dialogue between body, mind, and those who dedicate their lives to understanding both. Before thinking about supplements, remember this: as the years go by, healthy eating becomes life's true fuel. An older adult's body needs nutrients from fresh, varied, and natural foods. They strengthen the immune system, keep the mind sharp, and sustain everyday energy. Every balanced meal is a form of care and prevention, and regular visits to the doctor are the strongest allies of health and longevity. The Iowa study gained a reach few had anticipated. It wasn't just a simple data collection, it was rigorous scientific research, monitored by universities, reviewed by physicians, and published in specialized journals worldwide. When the results came out, no one could ignore them. The study's credibility was unquestionable. Over 38,000 women followed for nearly 2 decades, regular exams, lab analyses, and a methodology considered among the most solid ever conducted on the topic. The impact was immediate. Hospitals and research centers began re-evaluating old recommendations. What once seemed harmless now required caution. The most shocking finding was clear: women who took synthetic supplements daily, even in moderate doses, had a higher mortality rate. This overturned a belief built over generations. Even among the scientists themselves, there was a sense of disbelief. The team led by Dr. Lawrence Kushi and researcher Joanne Manson knew they'd face criticism. After all, the supplement industry moved billions of dollars and fed an age-old hope that a simple pill could extend youth. But the numbers spoke for themselves. It was impossible to ignore what the data showed so clearly. That was the moment science touched everyday life. Suddenly, older adults around the world began wondering if they were doing the right thing. Doctors, on the other hand, started emphasizing a crucial reminder: before putting anything into your body, you need to understand what it actually does inside. The study didn't condemn vitamins, it highlighted the importance of form, dosage, and source. It was during this period that Harold returned to his doctor's office to show his new test results. The doctor listened, reviewed the findings, and gave a small smile. The numbers had improved. His blood pressure was more stable, his sleep more restful. The secret is to see the body as a whole, the doctor said, and that requires ongoing care. Those words made perfect sense. The study had changed more than statistics, it had changed mindsets. While some reacted with skepticism, others saw the discovery as a valuable warning. Evelyn, who once blindly trusted supplements, now encouraged her friends to get informed, talk to their doctors, and seek balance. She realized that health isn't a promise in a bottle, it's a path that demands awareness and care. The Iowa researchers continued publishing new analyses in the years that followed, reinforcing the same findings. Each piece of data was reviewed by independent institutions, and the results remained consistent. That consistency is what made the study so respected. There was no speculation or guesswork, just science, patience, and evidence gathered over time. The study's rigor opened doors. Other universities began investigating the impact of isolated vitamins on older adults. They found that as the body ages, it becomes more selective, less tolerant of excess, and more sensitive to what it receives. Anything in excess, even things that seem healthy, can become a burden. And that's the detail that changes everything. The difference between medicine and poison is almost always in the dose. Over the years, the Iowa Women's Health Study became a global reference. Its conclusions were presented at conferences, debated in universities, and translated into public health policies. What began as a simple follow-up of older women ended up as one of the milestones of modern preventive medicine. Every chart, every number, every personal story revealed the same pattern: longevity isn't bought, it's built. It grows from daily choices, regular doctor visits, and whole foods that the body recognizes and turns into energy. The research didn't just expose a common mistake, it brought the focus back to what truly matters: human care, medical guidance, and the power of genuine knowledge. At the end of their analysis, the scientists left a quiet, almost poetic message in their report: nature provides enough to sustain life. The role of science is to understand, not to replace. And it was this sentence that echoed through hallways, clinics, and hearts of those who realized that aging wisely is about much more than surviving. It's about choosing to live with understanding. Vitamins are essential for the health and longevity of older adults. No one doubts that. The key is to gain self-awareness but also seek medical guidance to determine which supplement is best and which will yield the best results. Among the stories that emerged after the study, some stood out. Evelyn, for example, began to see her own health differently. She stopped chasing quick fixes and started valuing medical appointments and long conversations with the professional who had followed her health history for years. She discovered that a simple test could reveal what her vitamin bottle was hiding. And she learned that caring for mind and body is a daily practice built on attention, patience, and conscious choices. Science showed that living longer depends less on what we put in capsules and more on what we put into practice. Balanced nutrition, consistent hydration, daily movement, and regular medical checkups form the true foundation of longevity. It's the doctor who translates what the body tries to say in silence. It's the doctor who notices warning signs before they become serious, adjusts the course, and prevents small issues from turning into major crises. Harold learned this lesson in a deeply personal way. For years, he believed vitamins were enough. After making changes, he began visiting his doctor every 3 months. His physician helped him adjust his diet, balance his supplement use, and understand his body's limits. Instead of relying on pills, he began relying on knowledge, and the right medical support. It was a new kind of security, more human, more aware. What the Iowa study gave the world was more than a scientific warning. It was an invitation to wisdom. It taught us that true health isn't found only in lab results or store shelves, but in the deep understanding that every body is unique. An older adult who wants to live well must realize that information is power, but medical guidance is protection. The study's conclusions were serious, based on nearly 20 years of rigorous observation, yet the scientists left a simple message: knowledge sets you free, as long as it's used responsibly. And that's where everything connects. Because it's useless to know what science has discovered if that knowledge doesn't turn into medical action, prevention, and real care. Evelyn and Harold represent millions of people who age with a desire to live longer but who have learned the lesson time keeps repeating: living better requires awareness. Every vitamin, every food, every symptom deserves a professional's attention. The information you receive is the first step. The second, and most important, is to see your doctor, listen, ask questions, and understand. This is the closing point of our story, but also the beginning of a new perspective on aging. The message that remains is simple and powerful: health isn't bought, it's cultivated. And to cultivate means knowing when to ask for help, when to trust what science reveals, and when to listen to your own body. So if this video brought you clarity, let it also inspire action. Schedule your next appointment, talk to your doctor about what you've learned here, and use the information I've shared today as a tool for life. Because knowledge is what opens your eyes, but it's medical care that keeps your heart beating strong for many years to come. What you've just seen highlights something essential: information saves lives, but only when it turns into action. That's why, before taking any supplement, bring this knowledge to your doctor, talk it over, ask questions, and find out what your body truly needs. Because the real secret to living longer isn't in capsules, it's in awareness, prevention, medical follow-up, and self-understanding. And that's exactly what this content has brought to you. Our channel was created to share meaningful guidance and reflections for those living the best chapter of life, after 60. We're still at the beginning of this journey, and we need your support to grow. So please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and help spread these messages of inspiration.